we're very happy to have you once again. We like to do these little World Puppetry Day gatherings every year because we know so many people from the many years we've been doing these workshops, and it's kind of a nice chance to get together and have an excuse to come on Zoom together. And this year, because two of our workshops, our online workshops, just ended, we thought it was a nice chance for some of the people who are in them to present some of the work they've done. So that's why we're doing our Puppets in Prague Puppetry Day a little bit later than
different day than the rest of the globe.
Yes, but that's the way it is. And tonight, the way we're going to organize things is, first of all, if you have any questions or comments, then definitely write it in the chat. We would be really happy about that. I'll start with sharing a presentation, and we'll talk a little bit about our marionette class first that we launched this year. And then we'll have a presentation, and we'll have presentations by some of the students who just finished their marionettes. And then we'll have a presentation by Mirek talking about our Automata workshop and showing some of the different Automata mechanisms that he taught this year in the class. And then you'll get a chance to see some of the students who have agreed to show their work tonight. And then at the very end, we're going to have a presentation by Troy Hourie, who was in our Automata class last year and started a project with us last year and is finishing kind of work. Well, it's still a little bit of a work in progress, but he wanted to present what he's doing.
Yeah, he will share his work with us, and then we can have some discussion, or you can have some question which we can answer. And that's our celebration.
And if some of you, I also mentioned, if some of you have something that you've been creating that's somehow connected to some of the work you've done with us, either with our new puppet recipes series, or something else that you created with us and have been working on, or that is something like that, then you're very welcome to also at the end share what you've been doing. So yeah, so it's so nice to see so many familiar faces, and I think we can start with our presentation. So thank you for coming, and you're going to hear from a lot of the students who are on the screen now. Okay, so I will share my screen, and I hope this all works. And yes, and I will share. Okay. So, okay. So, hold on. Sorry. I think I've got this. Okay. So, so celebrating Puppetry Day with these two workshops, our Mastering the Marionette and our Automata workshops. So here there's a couple of examples that you're going to see a little bit later by our students. So as I said, we're going to start with our Mastering the Marionette workshop, which we started in October, our first attempt at this class. We've done a lot of the Zoom workshops before, as many of you know, because you've done a lot of the online Zoom workshops with us. But last year, Mirek made about 30 hours of videos with his instruction that was very closely based to the book, our book Puppet Technology, which many of you have out there. And using that book as kind of the guide, we made these videos, and then we did our first class with those, and we had 4 students in our guinea pig group, we were calling them, and we started in October, as I said, and it was about, so that here you can see their
first ideas, first sketches of their future puppets.
And I'm going to start with we'll go through them one by one. First, Kimberly was one of our students, and she decided to make this sort of fat, scary old man. That was her idea. So you can see some of the process, starting with a
technical drawing and blocks of wood, first carving, painting, making details with shoelaces, painting the face. Yeah.
But then Kimberly, somehow she finished this beautiful puppet, but she wasn't quite happy with him, the character, and didn't feel like that was really who he should be. So she decided that this character, he became a she. So she called it her transgender puppet. And this character turned into this woman. So from her kind of scary man, she has this this very lovely lady, and she also yeah, I wish this would disappear. She also decided to make another puppet at the end. So she made these are puppets on strings, and she decided to make a wire puppet, the classic Czech wire marionette. And we have she made some little videos. So I'll just show you you can see them moving. Kimberly has done a lot of our workshops in the past, and she's made a lot of the rod marionettes, which is what she decided she loves because of the manipulation. So that's the second puppet she made. And here you can see our lady, our transgender lady puppet on strings, which she made. So you can see it moving around a little bit. I think we have some close-ups. Oh, there we go. So you can see some close-ups here. She did a really lovely job with the painting and the hair. So okay, so that was that was Kimberly's marionette. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to come this weekend, but she yeah. So and one of the things that we're really trying to focus on are the joints and how to build joints that really are professional quality joints. And you can see the second puppet here, which was by Phil. Phil is here. So I'm going to stop sharing. And it's my pleasure to introduce you to Phil Jasen. And Phil, I don't know if you want to start with your video or if you want to.
Yeah, let me pull up a short slideshow I put together. It does have a really brief video at the end. Let me get this up. So I was just going to talk through my process, but real briefly, just from the very beginning, we're seeing these puppets, and I really wanted to think of it not just as a nice carving, but something that'd be functional that I can use that would have some purposes. So I remember kind of thinking the character, well, what are kind of like archetypes that might be in multiple stories? If I was thinking of doing a Hansel and Gretel story, by focusing on like Gretel, maybe becoming a Little Red Riding Hood, maybe become other things. And so as you can see some of the small ones, start off with these initial sketches, but of course, I think if any of you are taking the class, maybe like me, you don't have a lot of wood carving experience, maybe you've worked in other 3D modes or 2D modes. I wanted to be a little bit careful of trying to get too in love with like a beautiful drawing and kind of know, okay, this thing's something I have to carve and it might be a little bit tricky. So I try to keep things pretty simple with the idea initially of my sketch stages. Of course, then we move on to the technical drawings where, as Dee was just mentioning, a lot of focus on the precision of those joints. So it's going to, of course, be a movable thing instead of just, a doll. And at the very beginning, we're carving these blocks. You can see in that picture on the left, I had a Japanese saw, so it's kind of initially carving everything by hand. The first couple set of blocks, easy, then someone came inside and kind of try to cross cut, which definitely took me hours at the beginning, a bit longer than I anticipated. I didn't have clamps to really make it easier. I was just kind of holding down the wood carving. So soon I ended up investing in a bandsaw, which I definitely think most people in the class realized was the easier way to go to get those forms started. And you can see go from those blocks, carving a little bit more detailed, but again, even at this stage, making sure things are going to kind of fit together, that you have the balance, the operational controls you're going to be hoping for. And from there, you kind of push through. Some of those first things feel a little bit where you're questioning, is this going to work out? Is it going to look as good as you're hoping? Once you start to get to carving, I feel like that's where people kind of start to see how it is coming together. You start to finally feel that vision, even if there's some struggle along the way where you almost, I feel like, with someone a little bit newer to wood carving, you can feel like you want to be real careful about how much you carve off, but you have to kind of like embrace, just whittle away, and trust that process. It's going to kind of have enough there and kind of get to the rounded forms, directions you want. So you can see as the individual parts are starting to get kind of rounded out, made a little bit more, human for my marionette here. And then we can see it jump to assembly time, which I think where it starts to get really exciting. So I had chosen, wasn't exactly at the beginning, but I chosen with the string operation, that handle, which was something I'd seen less, and so I kind of really wanted to figure out how that operated, how that worked. I like the idea of having more control over the puppet a bit more than the rod. And you can see on the left, the piece assembled, some paint applied to it. Even seeing that little clamp vise, me filing down the metal so I can join my leather and my straps together for that puppet, which, is a little time consuming, but I definitely feel like things get rewarding at this moment. And from here, you can see on the left kind of the initial pass of where I was, where I had purchased like doll clothing that I was thinking might fit the puppet, but talking with the class and Murex, realizing it maybe covers up a lot of the carving. So on the right was the direction I did end up going, where I kind of used just a little bit, because the aprons were used, some of that ribboning at the very bottom I cut off and added into a new skirt that I have that I handmade. So customizing the figure, I like that. I think with all art, you have your initial sketch, but you have to kind of be willing to adapt as you're going forward and not get too frustrated with things. So I was pretty happy with the results here on the right. Right there, it's hung together just by fishing lines. That's what I had at home, but I quickly switched it out with some cotton, which has a little bit easier control. So you can see the puppet in its finished stage, 2 views, and like at the beginning, I think have its functionality. So they're sitting, bending, kneeling, all these kind of things, making sure I can do those well was an important stuff I wanted to make sure I could figure out. I feel like if you don't end up with a puppet that looks totally beautiful and you're happy with the aesthetics of it, you've learned the process, you'll make more puppets, get better at those aesthetics, but maybe learning some of the technique stuff was most interesting to me, at least. A very short clip of my very beginning stage of trying to test out these movements. So there's nothing too fancy happening, but just testing out the walking and moving around with that marionette. Give the screen back to you all.
Very nice.
Super. I just will take the privilege of the moderator of asking you one question, which is, so what is your plan with this character? Will you be performing with them soon, or what's the plan?
Yeah, so I have performed a lot with shadow puppets. Is like my main focus is 2-dimensional puppets. You saw in that last video, a little cranky box behind the puppet, and I've been somewhat bringing little mixed media pieces into the foreground, so I do 2D and 3D, and this puppet's definitely going to be used a little bit for that. I also teach art, so it's something I'm bringing into classes, showing people, but it is going to be something that I have to make a couple more puppets so I can kind of start to put on together a full production with it. But yeah, my idea with it is not just a decorative, shelf object, but a functional used puppet.
Great.
That's what we like to hear.
We want you to do.
Yeah. Yeah, the puppets.
Good,
Super.
thank you.
Thanks, and thanks for explaining through it. Okay. Does anyone else have one question, or you can write it in the chat and we can come back to it if anyone has a question for Phil? Did Phil have trouble the wood knot in the head? Did you have trouble with the wood knot in the head? Asks Bob.
The knot of wood in the head, or just the wood that was not the head? Cutting the limbs and body, was not too difficult. You kind of learn as you go. Like I mentioned, since in the beginning I was doing everything by hand with a hand saw, so cutting out kind of like the front silhouette form and then the side profiles was time consuming because you make those little lines and you chisel out stuff. So it was a little time consuming, but I never really had the experience of carving something and realizing, oh no, I messed up, I have to start with a new block. It was always something that was carved and you could keep adapting and building, getting where you need to from that.
Okay, okay, super.
Definitely good approach.
So I'm going to go back to my screen and I'm going to go to my presentation. So that was Phil's, which you've seen. And next we have Anne. And Anne has this beautiful frog, which she, hold on, which she turned into, hope you can see this, which she turned into this character. So she made a puppet on a wire, and here is how he came out. I think that was the end of the video, but fortunately, we also have Anne here. So Anne, and Anne, who I'm about to spotlight, and has her puppet here. So Anne, please introduce us.
Okay, would you like me to share my PowerPoint with you also? Or?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Okay, I have never shared before, so bear with me for a second. Screen share.
Are you good?
I don't know. Am I good? Am I there?
Yes.
Yes, I'm
It's
there.
coming. Yes. Yeah.
Again.
Perfect.
So, give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
Share on the right, the red button, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I got it.
Wonderful. Very nice.
Okay. Did you see it? Or did I unshare?
You
Yeah.
stopped sharing, so share
Sorry.
again. That's it's okay. You can share again.
There we go.
Yeah, now we see it.
Okay. All right. So this was my original design. I didn't know what I was doing really. I didn't really know how it was going to work out. I did a couple of drawings. My first drawing was not the one I stayed with. It has, you can see the legs will be different. And this was based on the advice I was given that I might, since I'm not going to be clothing this puppet from the waist down, that I might want to have the legs done differently. This is, the other one was one with clothes on it. I'm pointing to it, but you can't see where I'm pointing. So I switched it over and we used the other model where the legs are actually attached on the side and they, it gives a better, I think maybe the profile might be better in this with the legs attached the way Mirk suggested I do it. I had a lot of problems in the beginning because I too did not have a bandsaw and I was doing everything by hand, which is fine. You can do that, but it takes a little bit longer. These are my initial cuts that I was going to make. Once I got a bandsaw, things speeded up for me a little bit. But I will say this to everyone. I had two big fears in this whole thing. And one was a bandsaw, I didn't want to lose my fingers. And the other was the bending of the wire, which I have overcome both. So I'm happy. All right, so this is the process of putting it together. This is my initial face. I had to add on to it because my bandsaw wouldn't take anything wider than what I had. You can see the lines there. And this took a long, long time to carve. There's my legs again as they're going into position. This is my first put together. Where I wanted, you can see the upper arms aren't there yet, but they were easy. They weren't a problem. Now we're getting there with the upper arms are in place. I colored him with pastels, actually. They're pan pastels, and they gave me the subtle look that I wanted. There'll be more, he's not quite finished yet. There'll be a little bit more color added. I also had some problems with the feet. I wasn't happy with the leather feet, so I felted over them. It gave me a more substantial foot. He's still learning to walk. Here he is, ready to learn to walk. And you can see his little movements. And I believe that's it. That was my last one.
Nice.
Okay.
Super. Thank you.
Here he is.
Thank you.
Oh, and here he is. Hold on. I'm going to spotlight you. I'm just unspotted. Like, did you? Here he is.
Let's see if he can wave to everybody. Not very well. He's got some learning to do. He's a toddler. He still has to learn a couple of movements. But that's on me.
That's really, yeah, really nice. It's nice to see how I enjoyed with all of them seeing the initial drawing. And then I feel like this character, you really captured that spirit you had in that initial drawing for me. Yeah, nice. If there are any questions, then does anybody have a question for? And we could also write it in the chat and answer it in a little bit. So if there's no more questions, then I am going to, oopsie, I'm going to go back to the presentation, and the next one we have, the last one from this class is James, who's also here on the chat. Sorry. Presentation. Okay. Okay, so that was Anne.
Wonderful.
And trying to go to the next one. Okay, and here's James. James started out with a Canadian lumberjack and really did some excellent, beautiful carving here, which you can see, very detailed. And here
ended up with few more than just one.
So this was, yes, this was the lumberjack, but then he couldn't really stop carving, so he made another puppet. And then he made two more. And James was also in our Automata workshop. And he made this video where you can see, it's about 7 minutes, and it will show you a lot. So these first ones are the automatas that he was making with us, which you'll see more of in a little bit. It's the box that people made. These the simple mechanisms. And now we're back to the marionette. Right, oh. Sorry, it's still the automata.
More automata and then this is how this. These are wonderful automata, different versions of mechanisms you've been talking about during class, and also marionettes.
There's no audio. Rick's talking. Why isn't there any audio? What? Why isn't there any audio?
So there was James, oopsie, very, very involved, a series of many, many, many projects that he did this year, doing, I think, all techniques that we presented with both the marionettes and the automata. And I think it's a good transition to the automata. So So I think that we're going to move to the automata now. James, as I mentioned, was in both classes. So I think you got a really nice chance to see a lot of different mechanisms that James made, which were many of the mechanisms that we taught. And what we wanted to do now was show you, Mirek's going to show you some of the prototypes that he used, that he showed.
На столе вот.
That he showed during the class, the automata class. Oh, sorry, that took me a while, but I'm going to now stop sharing and we're going to change the camera so you can see a few of Mirek's prototypes, and then we're going to let others from the class also show their work. And maybe just quickly, we taught these mechanisms. So we started with these simple mechanisms and then went on to the jumping, then the wave mechanism, and then the different crankshaft, sound, light, electricity, and different kinds of gears, which we taught in the workshop. So I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to switch the camera. And maybe if you have questions for James and later, just to keep keep things moving, we'll put them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end. Okay, so I'm going to switch the camera and spotlight Mirek. Okay, so, and Mirko, we're also going to switch the microphone, so Mirek, say something.
1, 2, já tam mám pořád tu prezentaci teda. Tady vidím prezentaci. Nevím proč. Hello. Can you see Mirek? And can you hear Mirek?
I can see and hear you.
You can see me and hear me, right?
Yes.
Tak proč já vidím tohle? Okay, very fast, going through what we did with our students of Automata. We started with this simple version where you have one wheel which is moving, is powered by the handle, and this is attached there. So this way you can move things from vertical to horizontal, horizontal to vertical direction. And this was called jumping mechanism. So as you see, the horse is jumping. So that was one of our automata we made. Very popular was this, which we can call waves. And yes, with this handle, I can move all the waves which are here. They can be added also these fish. This is peaceful fish, not shark. And boat or yacht. Yeah, so it's powered by these cranks going around and lifting all these pieces of wood. Yeah, like that. So that was very popular, and our students made very nice wave mechanisms. And I made a challenge, and I made this the longest wave mechanism in Central Europe. So this is the same thing, but made in 3 segments. So that was my product. And then we moved to transmissions. So this is belt transmission, where again I can transmit my movement, horizontal movement, to this vertical movement with this belt here. Like that, makes very nice squeaky sound. Then there was a challenge with electricity. So here you can see that by moving these things, I can switch on this switch and we can have on and on lights like that. So we also made some examples with another elements. So this one is wind. And so this is source of wind. And I can move maybe these. How is done? Here we have screen, and here we have this windmill, and here we have that source. Which of course needs, let's find the right angle. To move. Oh. Then we got to more complicated pieces like this. So there is handle, which is moving this way, is lifting this piece of wood on the heel, uncentralized heel, and we have this movement with the wings. And then there was this, my version of crank mechanisms. So students also made their versions. Like this. There we go. Yep. And then, then we also touched these cranks, gears, and challenge of counting and cutting out these gears. Also, we have been making and talking about another materials like this wire, horseman, simply trying to not to be focused only on wooden ones, but also another materials. And this was last project where I was talking about wind, another element. Nobody? Okay, and then now you can see the result of students' work, which some of them are really amazing. So I will go back and we can share screen and you can see our students' work.
So I'm going to ask, so you saw a few of the ones that Merritt made as prototypes and inspiration, and now Chesley will start and he'll show some of his work. So Chesley, if you want to share your screen, that would be great.
Okay, let's see. Oop, click the sound box so that you can hear the irritating sound of the optimize for video sharing. Awesome. Okay. Zoom wants me to install a password. Of course it does. Why? let me see. Okay, seems to work without it. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just gonna start playing and talk over what we did. We started with very simple wire mechanisms. And even on this first one, I started using some 3D printing in order to simplify things that had to have a lot of pieces made, which was a thing that allowed me to work fairly efficiently in this class. Because as you just saw from Murick's presentation, we made a lot of things in this class. Even early on, I started experimenting with some gears in order to transfer motion for this jumping one, which my cat helped approve of the movement. But this was the jumping mechanism using two different wheels with one inside the other to give it that extra push when she kicks. The wave mechanism allowed me to play with a thing that I was curious about, like if you could use that to transfer motion to something else. So it's like a marionette, but in reverse, because the hands are being manipulated rather than the hands manipulating the thing. Also using 3D printing for the hands. And also the 3D printing allowed me to put retaining rings in the wheels so that they could not, the rods wouldn't fall off. Then we got experimental and made this device to figure out the optimal relationship between the crankshaft and the wheel, which then allowed us to make our multiple crankshaft device, which I never actually put anything on. I just made the mechanism. And this is the one that's going to be loud. I used gears here to try to make it easier to make a consistent beat because it slowed my handle way down. And then I'm currently co-curating an exhibit of shadow puppets, and so I had shadow puppets on the brain. So when we added light, I wanted to see if there was a way to like automate the movements of a shadow puppet. So using 3D printed gears again that were completely wrong, and so now they're just hot glued together in different orientation. I created this moving shadow puppet. And then when we got to gears, because I had already done a lot of them, I did a belt drive using this round belt to transfer motion, which was a very cool thing I had never experimented with, and I'm looking forward to using again. And then for my final project, I wanted to put on a bit of my academic hat and replicate something that had already been done rather than create something new. So this is a piece that Murick made many years ago that I saw when I took the in-person workshop. And so I had Leah send me videos and Murick sent me his drawings with measurements. And this is as far as I've got trying to replicate it. It uses multiple tubes inside of each other to transfer the different speeds of the different parts of the tree. And that is what I have done over the last 6 months, 8 months, however long this has been. It is sitting here behind me, but it's big.
Super. Yeah, it was really inspiring
Thank you.
to
Very
see
nice.
the work James did, the work that Chesley did. Yeah, there was a lot that was produced. And it was also, I don't know if you've noticed, but with the jumping mechanism, one of those early ones, we asked people to make little Halloween figures.
Seen.
So you'll see some ghosts jumping. There were quite a few of those, some of which you'll see today, not all of them that were made. Okay, Robin is here, and Robin just got one mechanism ready that she wants to show today. So she made a jumping mechanism. So Robin, do you want to turn on your screen? And there you are. I will spotlight you. Turn on your,
Okay.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah. We can hear you and see you.
So Robin
All right.
has.
Well, I'm kind of sad that I have to go after Chesley because he did such amazing things. But I have one to show today. It's a simple jumping mechanism. It's nothing complicated like Chesley's beautiful stuff, but goes up and down and his head spins around. So it's, like I said, really basic. It's just a large wheel on a small wheel. The small wheel is offset to make it go up and down. This shelf helps keep the main dowel going straight. The hands and the head are made of wool felt. So it's just needle felted onto the head. Really simple, stuck on a skewer. Because you know, everybody's head is stuck on a skewer. So just really simple. Kind of fun to play with though. So that's what I've got.
I really love the way Robin has the hands placed on the box too. That's something we didn't mention, was we spent some time talking about building boxes for the wooden automata, which is sort of a basic, you need to have a box if you want to have your automata. And it's really nice how
The
that,
box became part of the automata sculpture. Yeah.
Oh,
Very
okay.
nice.
and
Very
how,
nice.
and also how simple things can
So
be. So
he's holding his hands on his desk.
Just holding on for dear life.
Don't
All right.
be
Thanks,
ill.
everybody.
but also one thing we were trying to communicate was that sometimes simple is really great, and it's about kind of the story that you create too. So the next person is Cara Hayman from the UK, who made a lot of pieces as well and who has really lovely stories. So Cara, I'm going to spotlight you. And
I'll unmute and I will share my screen. So hopefully, can you see a slideshow? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So like Chesley, I'm just going to talk over this. So this was the first module. We started off with some simple toys and just a very simple crank mechanism. And then this is my jumping one. So I decided to do, we were challenged to do ghosts, and I decided to do ghosts. I'm a polymer clay artist. I don't really have much woodwork experience, or I didn't. I have some more now. Can you hear the sound?
Yeah, it's good.
So those glow in the dark as well, which was fun. And then we came on to waves, and my first attempt, it didn't really work. The boat moves, but it doesn't tip how I wanted to. So we had a lot of discussion and different ideas for adjustment, and then it's tipping backwards and forwards quite nicely. So that was the sort of first box, got remade into doing that. And then we were sort of challenged to think about rowing. And so I first of all worked out the basic construction, just pivoting and tipping, and then added a fishing line so that it tips as you want it to. A little video, I'm just demonstrating where that fishing line is attached. And then we moved on to a sort of module where we're looking at sound, and I decided I wanted to make a town crier, and I didn't want to sculpt a face, so I chose to make it a cat. And I have quite a lot of fun adding all the little details. So making I needed a spacer, and so I put the little mice or the little rats. This is where we were using electricity and lights, and I had this idea to do a sort of sun and moon rising. So you can see my cam I used to control the switch to start. I did a hand turned one, and then this is how it ended up in the end with my polymer clay pieces. And so there's a light in the front which does the sun, and then the switch turns on a light at the back to do the moon. quite a noisy switch. That's done with a belt. It's belt driven one. And then my final project is still a work in progress. It's coming together. I'm just working on a Christmas carousel, so I've got plenty of time. So here was some prototyping of some of my elements. I got a bit distracted with the idea of a puffin popping out of an Easter egg, so I had a little Easter distraction, which slowed me down a little bit, but I was quite pleased with how that turned out. And then, yeah, my husband very kindly cut the gears for me because I'm not that advanced in my woodwork yet. We played about with different cam followers and different construction. Here's my 5 elements. I was going to have 6 originally, but there wasn't much space, so still I want it to be a lot more decorative yet. Here it is, all my elements moving. The first time Leah America's seen it moving well. This afternoon's work. So we've got casters on there underneath, which means that when you turn the handle in a different direction, they actually swap around, and the reindeer kind of just spin around. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that, whether I'm going to
Scary.
but everything is working. So yeah, still more to do, but it's coming together.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, so nice. Really, really gorgeous.
Really
work.
fantastic. Thank you for this presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, and all the little stories again are so much fun to watch. The next presentation, I will actually share my screen because I'm going to show you a video by, I think I'm going to share my screen. Hold on. I know. Sorry. Sorry. I'm having a hard time with my computer here. So I'm going to try to share my screen. Get down there. Do that one. Sorry, we're having a little computer issue. Heidi. Okay, hold on. Heidi Vanwachtendonck. There we go. Okay, sorry. It's a little problem there. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen and go back to our presentation. And sorry, here we go. So here you can see some of the people who have presented so far, some ghosts. This is a ghosts by another student here. And next presentation is of Heidi Vanwachtendonck from Belgium. I also wanted to show this to you because this is her YouTube channel, and she incorporated her automata in, here you're going to see a video which she created just to show you what she made, but she's also been incorporating them in little stories that she posts on her YouTube channel, which is this here. So if anybody's interested in following her YouTube or subscribing to her YouTube channel, it's there, Priemselkten, so you can find it. And this is a video where you can see a lot of the different projects that she made, different techniques that she created. You can see them here. So this was a really interesting version here where she used these articulated. Oh. And this was super simple. These are just wires, but she created this movement just with the fish on a wire. And then again, this is this technique that she just has the wires. That that was by Heidi, who's also here. So does anyone have any questions for
Chesley.
any of those presentations? Heidi, Cara, Chesley, Robin, or James, whose work you saw a little earlier. Are there any questions or thoughts or about any of the things that you just saw?
I did the workshop on Automata a year and a half ago, and I have to say I'm so impressed that anyone has the time to be able to do the amount of work you did. So it's really impressive.
That's absolutely true.
Yes, there is a lot. A lot of different possibilities that are thrown at the students.
I'm thinking maybe after I retire in 3 years, I'll come back and do it over again. So
well, one thing we did decide with the students this year is that we will be offering this class again, as we just described it, but we're also going to have a continuation, an advanced automata workshop, which only meets once a month, but where students who have been working with us can continue to develop projects, maybe more complicated ones, like what Chesley is trying to do with the combination of different types of mechanism. So Troy, there's a spot for you. And for us, it's been really fun to see what different approaches people took to these, these similar kinds of mechanisms. Okay, if there are no questions, I'm not sure if somebody wrote something. I just think a lot of positive comments. Does anyone have, what is her YouTube channel? Heidi, actually, I'll do it. I'll put the YouTube channel in the chat. I just need to find it. So yes, there's some really lovely videos there. So I highly recommend it. And I'll type it in the chat in a minute to get it in the other space. And Troy, Troy is, as we mentioned, he was in the workshop last year, and he is going to share some of the work he's been doing with you now since the workshop last year. So Troy, you're spotlighted.
okay, so hello everyone. I actually can't live up to any of that, quite honestly. But I am probably one of the biggest fans of this pair. So I'm always going to be there to support this team because I've learned so much from them. There's two projects I want to highlight. One began at the beginning of, began in the Automata workshop, and the other is something that I was recently commissioned for. So I'll quickly share these two things for comments or. Let's see, so share. Oh, why is it not showing me all of the?
You have to move your mouse down.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at why it's not allow. Oh, okay, I see. No, I've got a new computer, so it's making me go back and add some stuff into it.
Yeah.
So give me a second. You guys can talk for a minute while it's
No, I'm just looking at the puppet behind Troy. Maybe I'll just mention that was a puppet that was made last year when he came to Prague and did our August workshop.
Here's a show.
And that puppet was inspired by a storyteller, a Native American storyteller who Troy is friends with.
So I actually have to leave the meeting, come back. I don't know whether this is worth it. Yeah. Do you want me to do that?
Okay.
My new computer, I just got it in last week, so it's making me leave the meeting in order to. What do you think?
Sure. Go for it.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Okay, well, we will let you back in. So hopefully Troy will come back to us. But I also wanted to say, if there is anyone out there who also has something that you thought you would like to share with the rest of the group, that's inspired by some of the work you've done with us. This is also, well, Troy's back. After Troy has his presentation, hopefully, then we would love to see that. We will end a little bit before 9. So or 9 our time, which is about another 15 minutes. So, okay, great. And now we have Troy here. Super.
Sorry about that, everyone. So this is both these pieces are actually works that I've been working on over the past year. I've been on sabbatical from UGuelph, and one of them was a Abenaki puppetry opera, and in that I had started learning about Automata at that time. So I had imagined a gear system to turn an Automata carousel, and so these were my initial sketches that I had shown Mirek, and I just never ended up having time to complete it until I was actually producing the opera later. So this is a sketch of how it sort of works. So there was like, this is the full set rendering and ideas of what there was, but you can see the automata was in the center of the stage. And my idea was that we would light it up and that one of the spirit puppets in this would turn it while the other one was blowing it, and the people would project onto the back wall. And so this is a photo of that. I have a video after in just a second that I can show you of that. So the mechanism ended up working out. It is amazing how much even an 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch on one of the little pegs being off actually can make it not work. And so
Yes.
during the production, I had to like rebuild a couple of pieces a couple times, but it was great. So that's the image, and I'll show you a video after this, but then this is sort of where it landed within the opera. And so again, this was my little Abenaki island that had the carousel on it. One of the gods came down and turned it while the other ones blew on it, and it turned on the backdrop. I'll quickly show you the video of that. So let me find it. So this was during can you see this video?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can see how it worked within the test. I still don't have the video back from my team from the actual opera, but this was the idea of we began with working on it. So inspired by, I'm really love historic devices of wonder and stuff, and so that's why I did the initial workshop with this team. Second project is let me just make sure I've got that open. Yeah, I have. Okay. Is a project I've been recently commissioned for. So there's a company called La Tortue Noire in Montreal, and they've commissioned 6 of us as artists to create cabinets of wonder, which is something I'm known for, and you would see in other ways. And so it was a combination of using interactivity with viewing devices. So I had a stereoscope, and the music's actually now coming out of a phone thing, and using magnifying glasses to look inside of things. The theme is 2050 between artificial intelligence and human stupidity. So we're looking at it's all viewer motivated sort of puppetry stuff, and it'll premiere at FEMS this coming summer. So this was just the ideas that I had. So there's 2 ways the world could go, and so you see this is where we live in a world where technology and nature are combined, or we live in a world where technology takes over and makes us all kind of screwy and crazy. So the ideas are there. And then I just started playing with these ideas. I'm using some music from actually a Czech composer that is a friend of Mirek and Leah and myself, that was written about the Industrial Revolution in Czechoslovakia. I'm obsessed with creepy toys, so of course inside of this, people are going to be looking at eyes staring back at them as part of this whole world. The idea of the AI taking over and creating these sort of worlds inside there. The other opposite being that the world's destroyed. And then there's this wonderful book called the Codex Seraphinius that everyone should own. It looks at how the world could evolve in the future by an artist. And so just some more research of what those things might be. So then after I did that, oops, I'll go back. Sorry. I've refinished the sketch of what it all will look like for all the outside of it. And then what it will look like from inside of it. There's a crank mechanism that turns mechanisms inside of the box itself, so that you get different views. And there's sort of an instruction series of instructions all over the box on how you use it. And then this is it in progress currently. I'm finishing it this week to send in. So hopefully that inspires some people to see how you can use your automata in more live work. So
Wonderful.
No,
Wonderful.
fantastic.
Really
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you, Troy. I'm really glad that you came
Thank
back
you.
and shared that with us. It's really interesting to see a lot of these ideas, like some of the shadow ideas that Marek showed, and then to see how you all have adopted those in your own ways, or the other ideas that people have gotten from each other. That's really been nice to have be part of.
I can't say enough about going and doing this in person. The workshop that was online was really wonderful. I just didn't have time for it, but the experience of creating the marionette in person last year, getting to know these two and all of their peers, it's life-changing, people. So please consider doing that.
All come to Prague. We want you all here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Super. Okay, really, really nice. That's the end of the official quote unquote program that we have today. But I did want to open up the floor. I know Bob has had a really exciting project with his Huck Finn in LA. I know some of the rest of you have some exciting projects. So if anyone wants to turn on their mic and speak, then I think we can just leave this now a little bit open, and maybe for another 5-10 minutes.
Doc can show his puppet again.
Yeah, we can also, or if anyone else has something they'd like to show, either just turn on your mic and start speaking. Unmute yourself, or you can also raise your hand if you feel like you'd like to be called on. So
I can just quickly show.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I can't say actually. This is a small sort of rabbit puppet that I did because I'm trying to make string automata. So I'm making these cabinets with the string puppets in them, very similar to somebody at the start did. So I've made an eye mechanism, a blinking eye mechanism for that.
Yeah,
nice.
To be controlled, but I mean that was my very first one. I also sort of made the sort of crow puppet in badly made clothes, but the mouth moves as the head. There you go.
Beautiful. Nice work.
But it was getting the joints that small. I just used leather joints.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
I've still got a lot to learn. But anyway.
Super. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Super. Nice. Yeah, that's beautiful. Bob, do you want to say something about what's happening with your beautiful Huck Finn show?
Well, nothing's happening at the moment. I always chat away on these meetings, so I thought I would shut up this time and listen to people. One of the worst things you can do is ask a professional actor to start to talk, because it's terrible. I'm in the process. I'm trying to reconfigure the set. I had the show was very successful. I was very happy with it, but the set was huge and not set up for touring, which is, and so I haven't done much with it. And all my puppets, which I normally would show, are in a case right there. So I don't really have anything to show right now, but next time I'll show some if you want. But it's a matter of, it's a whole lot. I love performing the show. I loved building it. It took me 4 years. And maybe I'll send the link to the show to you guys, which you could share with everybody here. Because I did make it's an 85-minute performance of Huck Finn with 17 different puppets. So I'll send that to Leah and Merrick. If you have any interest, you can get the Vimeo link from them and the code, the password. And now I'll shut up.
Thank you.
Super.
Wonderful.
Super. If anyone doesn't know this project, Bob made as he said, the show with these wonderful masks that had all kinds of movement involved with them.
Yeah, a lot of puppets, a lot of masks, a lot of acting, a lot of building stage.
Yeah, I don't know, James, Heidi, anyone else, and Wipke, if anyone else wants to comment about what you made, or if not, then we can slowly also wind things down, or if anyone else has a project, if Todd and Andrea in LA have something going that they want to share, or anyone else has something they want to say. Open it up. Yeah, maybe I'll Troy's comment about the high quality work we all do at PIP. Well, I think it's for us, it's great, the high quality people and passion and work that we've seen so many people put into these projects, which is inspiring. Todd's hand is coming towards the thing. He didn't want me to call on him.
You said raise your hand, so I did.
Oh,
It's
you did.
a big hand, that's all.
I don't.
We're gonna, it's on Andrea's phone, so we're just gonna kind of have to hold it up to the camera, which is annoying, but whatever. At Pomona College, where Andrea works, we just got done doing the musical
Putnam County Spelling Bee.
Putnam County Spelling Bee, and we made a dictionary.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or see it that well, but we'll try. I don't know if you can see it.
Very nice.
Hold on.
Dictionary is not very Merrick, just hold on.
Yeah, we can see
I
that.
thought I queued up better.
So it's big production.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
It's
that
amazing.
these puppets look like real actors.
They're so good,
yeah.
right? It's all Merrick's teaching.
All right, I thought I had it queued up to the right spot.
So
I don't know where the
this
sound
character, she loves her giant dictionary. So
There
she's
we
in
go.
a little bit of a fantasy world.
Oh la la.
So it's made out of PVC and scrim, which is a stage fabric you can see through one way but not the other way. Wait for it.
I thought I had it queued up better. Apologies. Yay.
Wow. Dictionary with legs.
And made giant Converse shoes for it.
And then they do a little dance and hang out together.
And then the word she's supposed to spell
I'm gonna fast forward.
actually is there it is.
Yeah.
So and she's supposed to spell a word and she's kind of thinking about it. And then we open up the dictionary and there's the word.
Oh. You can open it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Science dictionary, one word.
Nice.
So
that was kind of our puppetry-esque thing that we did recently. So
Super. Nice.
Thank
Very
you.
nice. Marlene has her hand up, and also Beth has some project that she's going to show.
Want to see it? I saw that on the internet. Yeah. So on the internet, Mirek gave us a thing to work on the chisels. Okay. Then by coincidence, a friend gave me a box like this. In the box, it's two of these, if the bandsaw wasn't broken. So instead of working with the chisels, I was drawing. And I will be painting once I get my license back. I've been busy,
Nice,
but not with wood.
nice. Super.
Ah, not yet, not yet, not yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Beth said that she has something.
It's better to put the chisels in the box. When my grandchildren come, I close it and it's finished. They can't touch it and they can't go anywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I have video on my little phone, so I'll hold it up because I saw that it worked for somebody else.
Wow, big wings. You can come closer. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
What was it for, Beth?
There we go. Oops, sorry.
That's for what? It's for parade or show? Or?
It's for a performance piece. I've been working with an artist who was a teacher of mine when I went to art school, and she's got an idea. It'll be filmed later on. The costume will be taken down to the beach, and so this is a young goose that is supposed to be faltering. That was just a little rehearsal with the wing puppeteers were just trying it out for the first time. So there'll be different segments of the film, but this is one segment where there's a young goose and she's faltering and then has to protect herself. And there later on, there will be like a mother goose that is desperately trying to row in the water to come and save her. So I'm not even sure 100% what the whole story is about, but the artist does, and that's the important thing. And maybe by the time I see the film, I'll know what I got myself into. But yeah, it's been fun.
Okay.
Thank you.
Super. Great. I see Bob has his Mark Twain character there, who he is giving. He's giving.
I just ran and got this out of storage. This is actually a mixture of a mask, which I made, and then Mirick's wooden face thing. And I needed something that I could work with one hand and the eyes would move. And Mirick made me 4 mechanical wooden things, which were just wonderful. And then I sculpted the mask on top of them. So there were 2 of these characters in the play ultimately, and they would speak, and I did not have to use 2 hands like I am now. So I just wanted to show those because I found them they're not in the normal storage. Anyway, I'll shut up now.
They're really great, really nice. Thank you, Bob. We have to go. We're actually meeting another online group, some of whom are here because they're doing the second Mastering the Marionette workshop. So hopefully next year we will be able to come back and show many more wonderful projects that people have been working on. And I just thank you so much. Thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for coming, everyone who came to observe this great work that our students have done. As I mentioned, we have those 2 Automata workshops coming next year, and we'll also have the new Marionette course starting in October. If anybody's interested or just wants to see the design video, we can also send that to you for free and you can take a look. And I think you all know we have these little puppet recipes, which we started. So the first Sunday of every month, we're doing a workshop that's on a different topic. So if you'd like to come and join some of those, it's a nice way to stay in touch with all of you.
Well, thank you again, Mirick and Leah, for inviting me.
You're welcome. We are so happy to have you here with us today.
It's great to see so many people creating.
Yeah, especially after watching Troy's predictions of the future. Wait, and why was it 2050, Troy? I'm not sure if Troy's still there. Troy's not there. Well, we can all imagine why 2050. Maybe I should know that. But let's hope that because of people who are so creative like you, the world will not turn into the dark version that
Definitely.
Troy's Cabinet of Wonders offers us.
We will keep in going with our automata and puppets.
Yes.
So thank you all, and see you, some of you in 5 minutes, and the other ones in some other occasion. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You all.
Thank you as always. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Come
Bye-bye.
visit. Come visit. We want to hear about Colombia too.
Yes. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for presenting. Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone, for presenting.
Thank you, Doc.